Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. We have a great show lined up. Special guest here, but first, let's take a look at our weather, brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Pollard, and hard-working crew taking care of our everyday comfort needs. High today, 60, low 43. That sounds like a January weather report, and it's really nice. It's really nice. Let's take a look at our all-important water temperature, brought to us by Allco Electrical Contractors out of Lynn Haven, 58.5 at the end of the pier, and that's nice, cool weather. So we lock it down this low because pretty soon something's going to happen, and you're going to see some migration about 2 months away, but we'll still be excited about it. River readings brought to us by Panama City, Coca-Cola, good folks down there. Looking at the Apalachicola at Bluntstown this morning, it's reading a 9.3. You see where it went up, boom. When you see it like that, they've opened those gates up at Chattahoochee. They opened all of them at one time, then they shut them down. So it's going back down today, but it's really shot up there. Take a look at the Choctawhatchee at Carabelle. This morning it's reading a 7.9. As we said yesterday, with the rain we had, it's steadily going up. It's going to peak on out another day or two, maybe drop for the weekend. Take a look at our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Strong tides today, really strong tides. And that low tide in the mornings at 8:45. I like those low tides in the morning. Sometimes you get out there and work on your dock and do all kinds of things because you can wade out there. It's not very deep. And high tide tonight at 10:47. Our wind direction calm down a little bit. How about that north-northeast at about 5 to 10? That takes care of our weather. Let's take a break. We'll come back with our special guest. Okay, welcome back, and look who's back. Officer Chris Bowley from the FWC. We're so glad to have you, Chris.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for getting me out of the cold for a little bit.
Well, listen, we were talking and all kinds of things going on, and it's hard to keep up with everything, isn't it? It
is. There's lots of things. Things change a lot, as you know. A lot of our conservation efforts, are scientific based through our biologists and everything, so things can change a lot. Luckily today, I'm not talking about too many big changes, but it's good to keep up with it all.
But before getting all that scientific stuff and all the rules and regulations, what have you been up to? Have you been able to harvest any deer? Or?
I have been. So I hunt up in D2, so I was able to take a doe. Haven't gotten any bucks yet, but I was able to at least put some meat in the freezer, so I was able to take some time off and hunt. But have been working a lot through the holiday season. It's a busy time for us because everyone likes to get out and recreate, and we want to make sure everyone's doing the right thing. So hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a good New Year, and looking forward to 2025.
All right. So what all? Here it is, January, and we follow the commission meetings and try to share some of it. But it's so, like we just said, so much going on. So how about sharing some of the stuff going on?
All right. Well, I'm going to touch base on some of the things we talked about, just because it is that time of the year. Deer hunting is going on right now. If you are hunting in that D2 zone, which is going to be Escambia County all the way to Gadsden County, north of I-10. You're allowed to take doe, which is great. It's kind of a give back after the CWD results we saw. But just make sure that if you transport it out, you can transport the deer out of that zone, but it has to be cleaned, deboned, no soft tissue. We've been seeing some of that. A lot of people, it's innocent and they just don't know. But even if you're taking it to a processor, it has to be taken to a processor north of that I-10 line. When you go to a processor, you give them your confirmation number and all that stuff. And if we're seeing on our end, deer that are shot in D2 that are going to processors south of that, and here in Panama City or something, it's going to be a red flag for us. We're going to do some investigating. So please do everything you can to ensure that you are deboning meat. It's the same rules as bringing something out of state with CWD. And on the subject of CWD, we've seen really encouraging numbers, right? We haven't had any cases, and because of that, they were able to lift some of those restrictions in D2. If you are able to and willing to, please keep donating to those CWD coolers that we have. There's one at the Carter Track, there's one at Pine Log, so we can keep doing research, because even if we're getting a bunch of data that is not showing CWD, that's good data, right? I mean, that's what we want to see, and that will further our conservation efforts and our fight for CWD. So please, if you see a deer that is showing signs of what might be CWD, spinning in circles, droopy, those kinds of things, please call us. deer get injured, right? It's nature. You know, we just went to a call the other day with a deer that was missing a hoof. So someone called it in thinking we'd have to come euthanize it, but it was able to run and everything and be normal. We don't want to euthanize anything that doesn't have to, but anything that looks like CWD, please report it to us so we can continue our efforts.
So that's really good. It's a team effort too. Really, we got to do our part as outdoorsmen to get out there and when something like that happens, let them know about it, because you know, we've been fortunate to keep it in that one area. We really have.
We have.
We've been blessed with that.
Yeah, and speaking of a team effort, you know, we want to hear from y'all, whether it's concerns, suggestions of the upcoming hunting season. So please, if you go to myfwc.com right now, it's the first thing on the page that pops up. We want to hear suggestions for the 2025-2026 hunting season. So if there's anything maybe you're seeing in your area, if you think, you know, a regulation change needs to happen, if you think there might be a certain animal that you're not allowed to hunt that you think we should be able to hunt, you know, please make those suggestions, because it is a team effort. You know, our biologists and us as officers, we can't be everywhere. Y'all are seeing some things that we're not seeing, and we want to hear about it because, like I said, all of the regulations are all based on data, statistics, population, science, all those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And so we want to hear from y'all, because we want y'all to enjoy everything that the outdoors have. And, you know, a lot of people will come up to us. Most people's interaction with FWC is law enforcement. Well, yeah. I try to tell everybody, right, we're not the biologists, you know, we're just the referees in the game. We don't make the rules. So if you go to our website, you know, that's how your voice will be heard, being able to get to, and then it'll go up in the commission meetings and all those kinds of things. So please, if you have any suggestions, we want to hear from you, because it is a team effort. Us at FWC, we enjoy doing all the same things that you enjoy doing. Trust me, we want to have, you know, smart regulations and all those kinds of things. So please, it is a team effort. And if you do have any suggestions, again, myfwc.com, and it should be right there on our front page, the number 1. You'll see on the page there's like 5 numbers, and the page will automatically go through. Right now, number 1 is us wanting to hear your suggestions.
That's great. And like I mentioned right before Christmas at a commission meeting, you know, we had 27 people speak to the commission, give their voice and their opinion, but they want to hear from us, and especially we've got hoofs on the ground. We're on the ground, we're out there in the woods, out there in the water, and we see it sometimes. They don't have enough people to cover. So like you say, we can share and suggest that. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with Chris Bowley. All right, here we go. Let's go to, we're back now. We're talking about all kinds of stuff, and because all kinds of stuff going on now. Here it is, middle of January, all kind of duck hunting, deer hunting. I know y'all are talking about getting those coyotes and everything. So let's, you had something on duck hunting, or what was that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you know, duck hunting's in season right now, but it is ending soon here at the end of the month. So make sure you get out there and take advantage of that. You know, we want everyone to get out there and be able to take part in that. Heck, I even need to get out there. I haven't been able to go all year just because of work and whatnot. But with duck hunting, I know it seems like every time I come on here, there might be a boating incident I talk about, or you know, vessel safety. But we did have an incident in Franklin County that involved duck hunters. And what happened was, it was 2 individuals on a boat with their dog, and winds picked up, hit a wave, flipped over. So while y'all are out there duck hunting, especially from a boat, please, please, please have all of your required safety gear. Make sure you check the weather, right? You know, we get a weather update every morning on this show. Please check the weather and see what the conditions are. If there's a small craft advisory, please be careful. You know, it's not a time to be prideful. Wear your life jacket, because in an instant, your boat can flip, anything can happen. And luckily, both individuals and the dog were able to be recovered safely, and you know, no emergencies happened. Well, emergency did happen. There was no fatalities or anything like that. But with the weather right now, you've been hearing and feeling how cold it is, how windy it can be. That PFD will keep your head above water, try to avoid hypothermia, all those kinds of things. You can call out for help as long as your head's above water. You don't want to be fighting to stay afloat and be fighting the cold weather and water. And it can be, you know, things can happen quickly and things can get dangerous quickly. And then having that water temperature so low is only going to speed up the process of things getting worse. Yeah.
And I can dovetail in on that. There's so many stories where that kind of stuff that happened, duck hunting. We're up at Tharp Cedar Creek, and my buddy was in front of the boat. He just slipped and fell in the water. I was there to get him out. Ricky Green, I show his picture all the time. He's up in Kentucky now, all those big bucks. Ricky Green, duck hunting by himself out Prescola Bay. The boat overturned. He climbed back on it. It was floated out, tide going out. Luckily, a truck driver going over Prescola Bridge saw him. and was able to get help. If not, he'd been swept out and he wouldn't have lasted much longer. So many stories that we know personally of those kind of things happening with boats, especially in the wintertime, and just accidents happen, like you said, so quick. So be prepared, wear that life jacket.
And then also about being prepared going out there, knowing where you're hunting and where you're shooting and everything is also very important. So one thing I wanted to touch on, we actually were talking about it a second ago, is we get a lot of questions, especially this time of year, and now with duck hunting ending shortly, a lot of people are calling in with the nuances of where they can and can't duck hunt on the water. So no one owns, I want to clarify this, no one owns the waters of the state, right? If you are on the waters of the state, no one owns that. You can putt around wherever, so you can hunt anywhere on the waters of the state. Now, having said that, if you're going to be anchored somewhere and you're kind of on the fence, hey, can I anchor here or not? Look up the property appraiser, make sure that wherever you are, whoever maybe owns the shoreline, it doesn't extend out to the water, because if you are anchored and someone does own the sea bottom, well, then that is trespassing. But as far as, we get a lot of calls about people wanting to hunt close to Tyndall or Shell Island, or even residents like off of Beach Drive.
Beach Drive, that's a call.
Legally, you are allowed to hunt there. But, as always, make sure that you're hunting wherever you're shooting. It's in a clear, safe direction, that there's not boat traffic, that there's no one in front of you. You're not peppering someone's house or anything like that. So as long as you are on the waters of the state and you're shooting in a clear and safe direction, you can duck hunt there. We get lots of calls of residents that are concerned because they look out their backyard and they live on the water and they see duck hunters out there. It is legal, and on that point too, there is a Florida statute. You cannot harass hunters. So if you are out there and you are in a spot and hunting and you are legal and someone is coming out there disrupting your hunt, yelling at you, banging pots and pans, trying to ruin your hunt, call us, because we will handle that. That is a crime to harass or impede on someone's hunt or fishing.
No. And we've had that happen with fishing around a dock. I've had people come out there and just stomp on the dock, But that's illegal. You can't do that.
No, you can't harass hunters. And I know it may seem, for some of y'all, that if anyone is tuning in and you don't know much about duck hunting, well, hopefully, you learned something new. And, just because you may not like something doesn't mean that it's illegal. So
That's true. That's true. Right, 2 weeks left for duck season. Right?
Yes, and again, on the safety, if you are shooting from a boat, make sure weight distribution, that you're stable, that you're not going to fall out of the boat. I mean, just all those things. But just wanted to touch on that, especially with the waters, because we're getting lots of questions about where people can and can't, and there's only a couple more weeks left, and we want y'all to be out there and doing everything you can to get some ducks.
And I've got some decent reports on duck hunting in the Panhandle area. And I know up in Tallahassee, always we do some, Lake Jackson, areas like that. So.
Yeah, Lake Jackson's real good. And too, there's different avenues. Like I know the Ducks Unlimited website, you can look up, people will report what they're getting. So, if you're wondering where to hunt, there's resources out there where you can look up, you can track their migrations, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, that's really cool. We talk about that some on the show, and a lot of people report in. That's cool. Okay, I got a minute or two left in this segment. What else you got?
Well, again, feedback. If with duck hunting, right? If there's anything, give us feedback on that. If you are duck hunting, I'll touch on some regs. Most of y'all probably already know this, and again, Officer Boley may sound like a broken record, but we want y'all to know all these things. And even if you pass along to someone who may not know, but make sure that your shotgun's plugged. Make sure you're not using any toxic shots or anything. Make sure you have your federal migratory bird permit, as well as all the Florida licenses that you need. And if you're going to be hunting in a management area, always have your management permit as well.
And what about the steel shot?
Steel shot?
Yeah, is that a required steel shot?
So as long as it's not lead, so like if it's a non-toxic shot, right?
Okay, non-toxic.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you buy ammo, it'll say, game or duck or bird. So it just can't be toxic. So no lead, anything like that, anything that would harm, if it goes into the water or the land or anywhere where it lands. So you'll see that on the ammo when you purchase it, or just ask the guy behind the counter and say, hey, I'm going to shoot some birds. Give me the ammo I need. And as long as he knows the rules, double check the box he hands you. But they should be able to help you out. Any of these great outdoor stores that we have here in Bay County, they should be able to help you.
Yeah, good. And it's a lot of fun. I know. Also now, a lot of y'all always ask about decoys. It's always when people get a lot of decoys, and like me, and then they quit duck hunting, they may have them for sale at the end of the season. So check Marketplace for some duck decoys, because there's some good bargains. I've seen some myself. I would have bought them, but I've got plenty.
And until I started duck hunting, was getting into it, I didn't realize how expensive decoys can be. And you want good ones too. You don't want something that looks like a cartoon rubber duck out there or anything. So.
Yeah, I remember the guys used to hand carve that, used to make them up in Chesapeake Bay, the original duck hunters. They were just, in Louisiana, they would actually make their own little block and all. It's really cool stuff. All right, let's take our final break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Before we get back with Chris, let's take a look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. And I want to say how much products, how much outdoor things they have in that store. If you haven't been there, you're going to just be amazed at it. And they sell a bunch of stuff because they get all kind of local traffic, but a bunch of outdoor people coming from out of town. It's a cool place. And they've been helped sponsor our show since day one. All right, our time, 12:06 to 2:06 this morning. We just passed it. After lunch, 12:30 to 2:30. So take a long lunch break. Tell your boss you need to go fishing or go shoot some of those ducks. So anyway, this segment here, I always like to talk about Case of the Month. And I get feedback from y'all. Our viewers enjoy the Case of the Month. I think they're like me. They're entertained about how stupid people can be. So,
that's right.
Real people doing stupid things. So here we go, Chris.
Well, it's kind of funny. Last time I was on here, I remember you mentioning, I bet the next time you come on here, you're going to have a night hunting case. Well, it was the very next day a night hunting case was made. So we're going to talk about two cases today. Both of them do involve night hunting. So the first one is actually going to involve a familiar face. It was, now investigator Bassford Travis, who y'all remember, and another officer, Officer Glover. And it was someone who was hunting at night with one of those pneumatic crossbows. So trying to be, quiet and everything. And, that was obviously seized for evidence. And that case was made. But we do have a photograph of that. But, night hunting, please, if you hear anything about night hunting, please report it. It's very, not only is it illegal, right, to hunt deer at night, but it's very dangerous. You don't know what's beyond your target. You don't know, someone could be walking back there, a house, anything, and that's what makes it so dangerous. And it's also, it's not really a good sport either, shining a light and a deer freezing. It's not why we enjoy hunting. It's not why we do what we do. Also, shooting from a roadway, that's another charge. So you can rack up a lot of criminal violations against you for night hunting very quickly. And it's not, trust me, it's not worth having your freezer, full of some deer meat, getting, multiple criminal charges, possibly revocation of your hunting license. So don't have that anymore.
Okay, now wait, is it one of these pictures here?
It's that one right there. Okay. So there's a familiar face, and there's that pneumatic crossbow or
That's what you talk
rifle.
about. So tell folks what that is.
So what it is it's a they get charged up. Some of them are like CO2 air, compressed air, and what it is if you want to bow hunt, but maybe if you don't have the strength to pull back on a bow or pull back a crossbow or something, they sell those where it's it's pneumatic and you just charge it up with the compressed air or CO2 or what have you, pull the trigger and it'll shoot a bolt out.
So that's really a legal weapon during bow season?
It is.
You go back to the old days of archery, that's what you think about, but now it's so technologically advanced. That would take, unless someone really needs to do it.
And then, it fills a need. I mean, if someone, maybe if they lack the strength or for disability, anything like that. Yeah. I've heard of people too, there's companies out there that are starting to design them for bow fishing. So if you're going to be bow fishing, that they have the reel on them and everything.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. And let's see, this picture here.
So we got a doe. So there's multitude of violations in this one, right? We got night hunting. We got shooting from a roadway. So that's 2. We got taking a doe out of season. That's 3. And then if you look, one of those is a 22. So you got rim fire. So right there, the pistol that was fired. Yes. So you got 4 criminal charges right there just because you wanted to shoot a deer. So this case was actually pretty cool because we had a lot of helping hands in conjunction with our K-9 team. This case was made by Officer Agoff and Officer LaFrenz, who are 2 new officers here working in Bay County. So if you see them, introduce yourself, tell them hello. I know they're real excited about working in our area. And also in the photograph is Officer River. Now, Officer River is a K-9 for us.
Okay.
Now our K-9s are fully sworn in law enforcement. So if you meet Officer River, she's very friendly. She might lick you to death, but she is a fully sworn law enforcement officer, probably the best looking officer in the state, in my opinion. So those 2 officers observed them shoot from the truck, actually shoot at the deer, went and stopped him, and then called in our K9 team, and Officer River was able to track down the doe and find it.
But
so,
you look at that picture close, Chris, that little deer is not much bigger than a dog.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not.
Why in the world would anybody want to shoot something like that? That is unbelievable.
It is. I mean, at that point, it's almost like willful wanton and waste. I mean, what are you gonna pull off of that? You know, one plate of stir fry or something. I mean, there's no meat on it.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'll try to get River in here. Maybe you can meet her.
That would
we can
be
put her
awesome.
on camera.
Yeah.
Also, too, Officer Coker is the local officer who is the handler for Officer River. So if you see a truck out there that says K9 on the side of it, and they're pumping gas or whatever, walk up, ask if you can meet the dog. I'm sure he'd be more than happy. Yeah. We like to talk to the public, and we like Officer River to meet the public as well.
And again, we're talking about public input, and I know everybody loves dogs, especially ones that do things like that for the good of mankind. And what's great though, we always talk about as hearing those shots at night. If you're out there living in the country, hear somebody at 11 o'clock, bang bang. They're not possum and coon hunting. They're out there shooting deer. So that's you call it in the hotline. Every year I know y'all get these calls.
We do.
From the public, and we got to continue to do that and just keep these low life that's doing that kind of stuff. Keep them, find them. I know y'all take away the guns and then find them and all that.
We do.
And then you have a record and have repeat offenders, and they can get jail time.
Absolutely. They absolutely can get jail time. I mean, all of these crimes that are resource related are misdemeanors. So they are criminal charges. So based on their past history, their criminal history, all those kinds of things, I mean, the judge is going to look at all that and look at the totality of everything. And people have gotten jail time for night hunting for resource violations. So, as FWC officers, our responsibilities are vast. We're in the woods, we're in the water, we're in the state parks, everywhere. So please, if you do see anything, call our dispatch center, do a FWC wildlife alert hotline, and that way, because we can't be everywhere at once, and a lot of times, a lot of really good cases are made off of the help of the public.
And some of our judges are outdoorsmen too, so they don't like that either. We're gonna wrap it up, Chris. We're out of time.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Good job. All right, thank y'all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. We appreciate the viewership. Special guests coming in tomorrow, the High Brass at FSUPC. You're going to enjoy it. Take care of yourself, do something good for someone, enjoy the outdoors, take care of it, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.